Welcome to the Lotus Life. I hope you're doing well. For those who watched my mental health story, here's part two, how I overcame anxiety. Here's the link if you haven't seen it yet for part one. I left off by being at my all-time low. I couldn't drive my car and I couldn't be alone or I would feel like I would have a panic attack. I felt like my own thoughts weren't my own anymore and I was turning into a different person. A once confident, independent 22-year-old was now living in fear. I won't disclose any names, but a very important person in my life gave me the starting antidote to healing. She told me her own anxiety story. Other people have this scary type of fear too. I'm not going crazy. I'm not going to die from this fear. I had a small sense of relief, but the fear was still there. I would still get anxiety, and night was the worst. I had a very hard time going to sleep every night. It was a constant battle. Sometimes I would cry enough that my eyes would get overwhelmingly tired and I'd fall asleep that way or take a few Tylenol PMs. That wasn't healthy. I wasn't okay. So I decided to go to a therapist. She wasn't the best fit for me though. I felt worse leaving than I did when I walked in the door. I felt helpless once again until I seen an advertisement for a mental health counselor at the local community college. I didn't have anything to lose, so I made an appointment. A combination of my aunt, younger brother, and my mom drove me across town once a week so I could go to my appointments. How embarrassing for my 17-year-old brother to drive his 22-year-old sister around. But that was an obstacle I needed to overcome when I was ready. I treated my driver to Taco Bell and Dairy Queen occasionally. I mean, who can say no to tacos? After completing my first session, I actually looked forward to my appointments. I felt like I was in a safe place where I could share the demons that were inside my head. I came out of each appointment feeling like I might actually be able to overcome this anxiety someday. One of the biggest takeaways she gave me was a little book called Brain Lock by Jeffrey Schwartz. He shows you how to retrain your brain and rewire your thinking. It was written primarily to help those with OCD, but I found it very inspiring and it actually helped me tremendously with anxiety as well. To dig deeper into this topic, it's another episode for another time. Comment below if you're interested to hear more about how to retrain your brain. It's actually quite interesting stuff. When I was at my lowest, I would binge watch the show Friends because it would temporarily shut out the anxiety and the OCD. It was one of the only things that would work to numb my mind until I learned about mindfulness. Mindfulness is a great tool. It brings you into the current moment so your mind can't wander in the past or in the future. My mind would always live in the past, so pulling my thoughts into the present was very helpful to keep me grounded. Once again, this topic can be expanded on in another video if interested. I did yoga to clear my mind and to center myself. I tried to keep a daily routine so it kept me structured and accountable to reach my goal of kicking anxiety's ass. When we don't keep a routine, that's when we can develop bad habits and when we usually are not working at our full potential. I also made sure I dedicated time to be social with friends. I've always been a social butterfly, so I didn't want to stop that because I was going through a difficult time in my life. Everyone's different, and this just worked best for me. At the end of summer in 2016, I applied to a few jobs in Metro Detroit. My boyfriend at the time, now husband, lived there, and I wanted to be closer to him. In order for me to move, I knew I would have to drive myself, not just back country roads, but busy highways. With a leap of faith, I picked up the broken pieces and started my life on the other side of the state. At this point, I was only driving with someone else in the car with me. To my luck, the job I ended up getting was for a traveling doctor's office. I drove the physician's to senior living facilities, so I wasn't actually driving alone once I got to the office. I was in a foreign, busy area, still experiencing occasional anxiety. The drive alone to work, though, wasn't too bad. It was pretty close to the house. Honestly, this was the best thing for me. I was forced to drive on big, scary highways. Then, as soon as I got home, I would be so damn proud of myself. Something that seemed so silly to most was a huge accomplishment to me. Eventually, I got the courage to adventure more on my own outside of work. And now I'm in a good place. I can be alone and drive my car without having a panic attack. I continue to do mindfulness activities, meditation, yoga, and live life with a positive outlook. To reach the end, you have to put in the work. I didn't consecutively take medication to get where I am today. I retrained my brain to think differently and use the tools I already had. I just didn't know how to use them at the time. I'm not by any means judging anyone who's on medication for mental illness. We all handle things differently, and you have to do what's best for you. Even with taking medication, we need to work for it as well. There isn't a single magic pill that will solve all of our problems. It's not an easy road, but it's worth it in the end. And you don't have to do it alone. I wouldn't be the strong woman I am today without the encouragement and support of the loved ones in my life. In the next episode, I'm going to share with you some of my favorite smoothie bowl recipes. Subscribe now so you don't miss out. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and comment below topics that you'd be interested in. Thank you so much for watching and listening my mental health story. Lotus love.